Over the course of the last year, I visited my local superstore pretty much most days. Sometimes it's been for a food shop, but other times just for a change of scenery. But very often it was just because I yearned for some human interaction, even if it was only to say hello at the checkout, albeit behind a face mask. So on Monday this week, my first trip out following the lifting of the restrictions was back to the said superstore. And what a surprise. All the plastic screens in the self-service checkout area had been removed. Suddenly, for the first time in 16 months, there we all were, customers and staff, standing in close proximity with each other, glaring at each other as if we were some kind of alien species. All barriers gone, leaving the store to feel so much bigger and stranger than it ever was before. Now in the Bible, there is a book called Ecclesiastes. It is wonderfully honest because it explores the many challenges of what it is to be human. Chapter 3 starts with these words: "For everything there is a season and a time for every activity under heaven." It then goes on to list other times and seasons in life, some of which seem particularly relevant in our COVID-19 world. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to embrace and a time to remain at a distance. A time for tears and a time for laughter. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to rebuild, a time to mend, and a time to heal. But there's no denying the enormous challenges we have all faced during lockdown, albeit in our many different ways. And for those who may think it's all been an exaggeration, please believe me, it isn't. I speak as someone who has had COVID, and 16 months on, I continue to grapple with its long shadow, which I hate beyond measure. So as we begin to slowly tiptoe our way out into a world that feels we almost need to rediscover it afresh, please let's ignore unhelpful language such as Freedom Day, because for so many it is anything but, which is a thought the comedian Miranda Hart captured so well in a recent Facebook page. Today, I'm thinking of all those with housebound chronic illness. I hope the pandemic has raised some awareness of what it is like living with an illness that keeps you in lockdown for years, and the ensuing isolation, difficulty in being understood, grief, and so much more. Yes, there is a time to dance, to party and to laugh, and God knows we all need to. But if in doing so, my freedom places others at risk, then how is that freedom? Just because we may have the right to do something doesn't mean that it is the right thing to do. So let me finish by explaining what this is beside me. It's called the coronavirus cross. It shows the hand of God holding onto a man who in turn is then reaching down to help another man who appears to be sinking. It's a visual reminder that none of us live to ourselves alone, but that we each need God to hold us firm, whilst we hold fast and help one another. Or as Jesus once said on the eve of his own death, Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends.